June is one of the most important months in beekeeping, and it's also one of the easiest to mess up. Today, let's walk through the 5 things that I always check in my hives in June. Number 1, are there signs of swarming? Number 2, do the bees have enough space? Number 3, is nectar coming in? Number 4, should I be testing for mites? And number 5, is my queen still laying strong? Let's jump in and talk through it. Swarming seasons are different based on your regions. For example, in Utah, we see most of the swarming in May, and by June it should be cooling down just a little bit, but it's still something that we need to watch for. And actually, number 1 and number 2 go together. So spacing goes right along with swarming. We got to make sure that the bees have enough space. Now let's back up just for a little bit, because swarming is a natural impulse for the bees.
Mother Nature's a mad scientist, Jerry.
They come into spring and their impulse is to multiply, and that's good. There's nothing wrong with that. As beekeepers, a lot of times we want to control that. Swarms are fun and they're exciting, but we can control it by doing different types of splits. Some beekeepers just set out swarm traps and let them swarm, and then they collect the swarms that they catch. Personally, as a backyard beekeeper, I haven't had a lot of success with that, other than catching my own swarms, but I try to keep them from swarming through doing splits and other things. So most of what we'll watch for regarding swarming and space will be in the bottom box. However, we got to get through the supers first to get to the bottom. So I want to check this out. Looks like we're starting to get some capped honey there, full of nectar. And that's number 3, right? The point number 3, is there nectar coming in? You tell me. Is there nectar coming in there? This whole stinking frame is full of nectar. Just beautiful. Let's look at one more frame in this box. Ooh, that is beautiful, and this is full. I'll keep an eye on it, but there's so much nectar coming in, at least on that frame, that I wonder if I should consider adding another super. And that's kind of what you're looking for on number 3. If the nectar's coming in and there's not a lot of more space, then we gotta add more space. So this frame right here is full of nectar. Like, nectar is coming in big time. However, there's still some room right here in the middle of this frame. There's not nectar. We still have some empty cells. So as we watch to see if nectar's coming in, one of the considerations is, do we need to add another super? The nectar flow for us here in Utah is June or late May through all the way through June into early July. So you want to be ahead considering space and the nectar flow. You want to be ahead. They need space to add all that nectar coming in, so maybe I add another box just so I can get ahead, because we're about to hit, in June, we're going to be hitting the major nectar flow. We get the linden trees blooming. We've had, for Utah terms, we've had a lot of rain recently, and so we need to be adding supers. I think I will. All that nectar coming in, they're creating a lot of wax too. This box is not as full as the top box was. So you can see on there, like, answer that question, is nectar coming in? A lot of space still in there to add. All that middle, they still need to add nectar. Not a lot of capping happening yet though. A little bit. When you're looking at the supers working through the hives, if if you hadn't added the supers yet, June is going to be the month that you really want to pay attention to that space and get them added. For me, I run a single brood chamber. I like to have space right above the brood box because I don't want them to fill the brood box up with nectar and become honey bound. Still space there. That can fill up awfully fast though. My camera stopped recording on that bottom box, so I wasn't able to show you, but they're just so full of nectar, and I'm anticipating more coming in with the honey flow coming up. And they're starting to use that bottom box to store nectar, so that's going to limit the queen's laying space. So I'm just going to get ahead of it. So we have just a massive hive here, but I think it's the right thing to do, where in June I expect a lot more honey to be coming in. So this is our mega hive, just turned into double mega. I suspect I won't need any more supers the rest of the year, but we'll keep an eye out. So you have the red box is the single brood chamber, then I have a queen excluder, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 deep supers on it. That top one is empty as of now, but anticipating more coming in, I think, is a key component to watching the nectar flow. Okay, in the bottom box is really where we're gonna keep an eye out on space, signs of swarming, the health of the queen, certainly the risk of mites. So much happens in the brood box. It's where the majority we're watching. And regarding the nectar that's coming in, that's a major thing we're watching for. Well, if the top boxes don't have enough space, then they'll use the brood box, which is a problem. So that's what we're watching for down here. Now let's talk for a second about mites. I personally don't test for mite counts because I'm always kind of treating. I do Formic Pro in the spring, I do oxalic acid sponges after that are slow release. But if you do choose to measure mite counts, I think that's a good thing. And what you want to do, if you use an alcohol wash, probably no more than 3 per 100 is what you're watching for. We got some drone brood there. Drone brood. And just as long as I'm here regarding mites, as it pertains to drone brood, mites like to hang out in the drone brood. So oftentimes I'll use drone brood, I'll go and I'll destroy the drone brood and watch for mites within the drone brood. That's a great place to see if you have mites. So I'll check the drone brood every time I'm doing a hive inspection. Now back to the alcohol wash. 3 per 100 is probably healthy. Anything more than that you need to treat for mites. If you use powdered sugar, what I found back when I did mite counts was that I had to double or triple. I think that's a good rule of thumb. Whatever mites that you find in a powdered sugar approach, double or triple what you think is there. So if you find 1, assume you have at least 3. If you have 2, I would assume at least 4, maybe more, if you like to use that approach. Me, I'm always treating for mites, and I think it's important. Now, we're looking for the health of the queen here, so one of the ways to measure health is her pattern. So look at the brood here. It's a great brood pattern. You know, we're watching for eggs as well, but we can see from that brood pattern that she lays pretty healthy. So this queen is in a probably a pretty good spot. Great brood pattern there. And again, we're watching for space. We want to make sure she has space to lay. So what we've seen so far is a lot of brood, which is good. Not a lot of empty cells. Now, we've got queen cups here, so we're watching for signs of swarming. Like, this is a great place to watch it. So look right here, you got some queen cups. These probably aren't going to have any. They're at the middle of the frame, so there's no eggs in there. But what you'll watch for is at the bottom of the frame, right here, if you're seeing those walnut-sized or peanut-sized cells, then that is a swarm cell. Right here. And they are planning on leaving. Now, bees want to multiply. There's nothing wrong with that. But from a honey production standpoint, you'll lose half of your hive if they swarm. So you want to make sure that they have space and that they don't swarm, or that at least you're controlling it. Now, if you see one of those almond-sized swarm cells in the middle of the frame, like we've got a queen cup right here, if that turned into a queen cell, then that's what's called supersedure, and it's a indication that they're trying to replace the queen. And the queen, they might be trying to get rid of her because she's old or not healthy or damaged somehow. You know, there are different reasons. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But you have to be aware, because if they do supersede, then, and you don't go buy a new queen, then you've got weeks of waiting for that queen to hatch and develop and mate before she's productive again. So that's going to slow down the productivity of the hive. Now I'm seeing eggs in here, so the queen is healthy. I can see that she's laying well. I like her pattern. So I haven't found her, but I'm answering that question. But we're going to go through all of these frames because it is still swarm season. No swarm cells on the bottom. Okay, so that may not look like good brood pattern, but the spots where it's empty are full of larvae. So I am very comfortable with that brood pattern. You know, one thing that worries me a little bit is that until that larva hatches, there's not a lot of space for her to lay. I mean, I know that there is as soon as it hatches, but that's something that I'm going to have to keep an eye on. Every empty cell has eggs in it. So not a lot of brood on this one, but eggs all over. So I'm building confidence in the space that she has. We had space up top for nectar, at least for another week or two, and we've got space down low for laying. So I am not going to do anything to this hive. I'm going to leave it as is. I'm not going to add any supers. You know, when I looked at it, I saw no signs of swarming. They have enough space, as far as I can tell. You have to watch that closely. I'm treating for mites. The queen is healthy. We're in pretty good shape.